Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you today. It's Mother's Day Sunday. We were just kind of chilling, having a good day, and I immediately had to take my break. ECW, WWE, TNA. Dude was in AEW. I think for one appearance. Sabu passed away. This like really shocked me. This like was a rock to my system. I apologize. It's like every single time I make one of these videos, I start talking about my own age, and I think people just want to hear like my wrestling thoughts. But like every single time like one of these guys passes away, it really hits me. And like I talked about in my videos leading up to like WrestleMania, I thought it was fun to go to WrestleMania, but one of the things that I wanted to do more than anything else was go to WrestleCon, to be able to meet a lot of wrestlers, get pictures with wrestlers that I had never met. A lot of the guys are getting older themselves, and you never know when they're going to be making their last appearance. This WrestleMania, like the indie shows that were ran over at the Palms through GCW, a lot of them were based around Sabu. I mean, Sabu was having his last match. The Joey Janela Spring Break, it was the main event, Sabu's last match. I've seen highlights. I've had friends that were in attendance. That match was crazy. And Joey Janela said it. My friend Jeremy said it from being in the crowd. Sabu came out and looked like he didn't even want to wrestle the match. They looked like they were going to find a way to get out of it. And then all of a sudden it just started. And then immediately after it ended, Joey Janela grabbed the mic and talked about all day he didn't know if this match was going to happen. But Sabu, man, he had one hell of a career in wrestling. He was in the WWE, which is like the major leagues of wrestling. But when ECW was fighting to be the third brand to see how big they really could be, Sabu was one of the main event players there. They had Sabu, Raven, Taz, Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, Shane Douglas. They had so many guys that were in that main event picture that it was a lot like what was going on in WWF when you think about that log jam of main eventers when they had Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. There was so many guys that could main event any show in any city, and the ECW fans, they would have been ecstatic. I can honestly think of 3 times I saw ECW shows. Sabu, I can honestly really remember him wrestling once on those shows. More often than anything else, I saw him on VHS tapes through RF Video. I thought his shoot interview was one of the weirdest shoot interviews of all time. It was like Rob Feinstein had to hide the camera on the floor, and Sabu had to come in character, and they had to kayfabe the fact that they were filming this thing because Sabu was trying to do this shoot interview, but he was also trying to protect his character and act like he would be able to say, like, I didn't know that Rob was filming that whole thing the whole time. But, I really thought that sooner than later, we've got Paulie in the Hall of Fame. We've got Rob Van Dam in the Hall of Fame. But when it really comes down to it, ECW wrestlers have sort of been, passed on, getting into the Hall of Fame. I'm surprised that Tommy Dreamer isn't in there. I understand why a guy like the Raven isn't in there, but he belongs to be there. Shane Douglas is another guy that kind of had his problems. But ECW, if they don't have their own wing of this imaginary WWE Hall of Fame, why is a guy like Sabu not in there? I understand, Rob Van Dam probably got in, he came from there, but he had a really, really big career for WWE. But, Sabu wrestled freaking John Cena. for the WWE Championship. I think it was a Vengeance show. He wrestled for the World Heavyweight Championship against freaking Rey Mysterio on a one-night stand. It was an ECW hardcore match that ended in a no contest for kicking too much ass. I guess it was a leg spot through a table onto the outside, and to protect Rey as the World Heavyweight Champion, who they weren't really doing a really good job with at the time, as well as to protect Sabu, who was fresh in the company. They just ended the match, saying that both of these guys were too beat up to continue. But damn, if you really think about it, Sabu was one of the first real main event Monday Night War free agent, I guess you can say. If you go back and you watch the early editions of Nitro, Sabu wrestles on like 2 of them. On one of them, he kills Alex Wright by diving to the outside. I remember it, but for some reason I don't remember it involving a table. Maybe like it was supposed to do a table spot and he missed it or something like that. But Sabu's on like 2 or 3 episodes of Nitro, and they're really plugging him. Like it was supposed to be. He was still in ECW at the time. I believe the deal was that he didn't have a contract. Nitro, Eric Bischoff was using him, but they were using him on a pay-per-appearance deal. And he wanted to keep coming, but didn't want to sign a contract. He even would wrestle the dark matches for WWF at the time, because of the fact it would pay him more than what he made in ECW, even though it was pissing Paul E off. If you remember, back when Nitro was really kicking Raw's ass in the ratings, Sabu, as well as the other ECW guys, the Dudleys, Rob Van Dam, Taz, they showed up. I need to go back and watch those editions of Raw before I think that, they're gone. We don't really know what's going on with WWE Network. Those Raw replays got moved over to Netflix, and they don't even have all of them. Son of a gun. I don't even know if I'll be able to watch that. I have a comp of WWF versus ECW that it should be on somewhere, but it's just going to be a matter of finding it. A lot of those comps I just have in those DVD binders, and they've kind of been moved around the house a couple times. I don't want to get rid of them, but it's not something that I'm normally grabbing. I got to look for that. I wanted to watch the Money in the Bank 2020 match. I meant to watch that yesterday. I ran out of time. Thought about watching them when I got home today because I think I'm going to be alone. But I think I really want to see, like, Sabu jumps off of the freaking Raw letters. The old school Raw letters. They're just like a piece of plywood. I've seen them at freaking Access at WrestleMania 32. I met Sabu at WrestleMania 32. I did not meet him. He did not look like he was in the best of moods. When I saw him, I accidentally walked into the GCW meet and greet. He was in there. He probably had been doing something. Did not look like he wanted anybody fucking with him. And honestly, there was a booth right next to him where he was, and I thought it was Joey Janela, and so I thought maybe they were planning out their match and they didn't want to be fucked with. So I kind of left them alone, and then once Sabu left, I said something to Joey Janela and found out it wasn't Joey Janela. It was just some guy I was calling Joey who was talking back to me because he was trying to sell t-shirts. But I just recently saw Sabu at the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast live show in Vegas. My guess is they'll probably release that up as a clip. You know how much Brian really is an ECW fan. This is probably going to hit him hard. Sabu's got like figures. I don't think he has a WWE, what's it called? License right now. I wouldn't be surprised that they pick him up as soon as they can with as much ECW stuff has been coming out as of late. But like I said earlier, this is why I went to WrestleCon. I just didn't know that these guys would be dying that freaking fast. You don't know really what tomorrow brings. The older I get, the more that sets in. And that sucks, dude. I mean, Sabu was supposed to be... I'm just like naming off all the Sabu facts I can think of. Sabu he was supposed to be in a 96 Royal Rumble, I'm pretty sure, where they were really fighting for guys because the roster wasn't as big because WWF was really hurting. They were going to bring him in as like an extreme dude to, just cause havoc in the Rumble for a minute. It wasn't like he was going to win it or he was even going to be on Raw the next night. But what a career this guy really had. When you really look back on it, you can say, these guys never got paid, blah, 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 whatever that. Like, I think it was Kevin Nash or Scott Hall in a shoot interview talking crap about the ECW guys. But they really changed the business. Without what ECW was doing with hardcore TV back in the day, I don't think Raw would have been able to figure something out to get better, to fight back in the ratings. And who knows what that would have been. What if there was a day when Vince just said, fuck it, Nitro's kicking our ass, maybe we're going to go back and do boxing or circuses or something like that. I don't know. Hell of a career, Sabu. Thank you very much.